With the 75th anniversary of D-Day coming up on Thursday, we're sharing the stories of the heroes who fought in this historic battle. D-Day, as you know, was a major turning point in World War II. It helped lead to the defeat of the Nazi forces in Europe. More than 150,000 American, British, and Canadian troops landed on the shores of northern France on June 6, 1944. About 2,500 of the 73,000 U.S. soldiers who fought in the battle died that day. As a 23-year-old Army medic, Ray Lambert saved countless lives in Normandy despite being wounded himself. He is now 48 years old, Mr. Lambert is. He recently...
98.
98. What did I say?
If he was 48, he'd be a...
He would have been a very young man.
Yeah, thank you for the correction. He's 98 years old. He recently co-wrote a book called Every Man a Hero. Jan Crawford visited his home in North Carolina. She's at the World War II Memorial in Washington. Jan, what did you learn from him? What a guy.
Well, I mean, at 98, he's sharp as a tack. And talking to him, Gail, you're just so struck. It's such a powerful reminder of how people can do these extraordinary things against all odds. And Ray Lambert, he is one of 53 D-Day soldiers who'll be going back to Normandy this week. Every anniversary, there are fewer and fewer of these men left.
It was very crowded, the cold, guys were seasick.
Ray Lambert was in the front of a cramped Higgins boat as it approached the shores of Normandy on June 6, 1944.
The weather was terrible.
Just a miserable day.
He was 23 years old, a hardscrabble country boy from Alabama turned Army medic. He and his brother Bill enlisted in the war, and both were heading to Omaha. They talked just before the landing crafts launched.
We were both married, and we agreed that if anything happened to either one of us, that the other one would take care of our wives. And I had a son that I'd never seen.
The greatest sea-land duel in history.
The horror of that day began well before Lambert's boat reached the shore. He could hear the bullets.
As we got in close enough, we could see dead guys on the beach.
It is an infantryman's nightmare.
Lambert took a bullet through the elbow just as the landing craft's ramp opened to deposit the men. He didn't stop.
There was a guy just to my right that was obviously drowning. He had all his equipment on. That was the first person that I helped.
Lambert saved at least 15 men on D-Day, pulling many of them to shore and seeking shelter behind a large rock.
How did you keep going?
You really didn't have a choice there. You either drown or you move forward.
He kept going after shrapnel later tore through his thigh, and then while working to save another soldier, the two suddenly were pinned under the ramp of a boat bringing in more Americans.
You had that conscious thought.
Yes.
This was it.
That's when I asked God to give me one more chance to save this guy's life.
You didn't pray for your life?
Well, I was thinking of the guy I had.
Miraculously, the ramp suddenly lifted. Lambert saved his man, but his own back was broken, and he dragged himself ashore, looking down the beach before losing consciousness.
Look at the water. It has a way of soothing your pain.
Lambert, now 98, says even at the time, the soldiers understood the Normandy invasion was pivotal to winning the war.
We knew that this was either do or die situation.
Lambert and his brother made it out alive.
You didn't bring back a lot with you. Memories.
The front room in Lambert's North Carolina home is where he keeps pictures and awards. Most of what he had during the war was lost in battle, but he doesn't need objects to remember.
There is hardly a day goes by that I haven't thought of some soldier or some incident that happened.
You've had a wonderful life, and you got back and you got to meet your son, and you had more children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. But do you ever think your men, the ones that didn't make it, they wanted to have a great life too?
Those guys that are buried out there in front of us, the guys that gave so much, young guys, never had homes, never had families, never get to play ball with their children or their son. And so that was one of the, now you make me cry.
Lambert has gone back to Omaha several times since that day 75 years ago, and the rock where his men took shelter has been named Ray's Rock. He's been reluctant to share his story until now.
I felt, you know, if someone would say, gee, Ray thinks he was a great hero or something like that. I'm not. You know, I'm a veteran.
He decided to speak for his fellow soldiers who no longer can. The title of Lambert's book says it all, aptly named Every Man a Hero.
When we were talking about a name for the book, and the name came up, Ray Lambert, the hero. And so I said, no, every man is a hero, not me.
Now, Lambert came home to his wife. He met his 3-year-old son. He built a successful business. He has a loving, extended family. But like he said, there has not a day of his life that's gone by he hasn't thought of June 6, 1944. Tony?
Jan, was that day, that D-Day battle, the last one that Ray Lambert fought in?
It was. He had been in the Sicily and Africa campaigns and those invasions, but with that broken back, that was the last action he saw in the war, and then he came home from there.
Jan, thank you very much. Powerful story.
A beautiful reminder, too.
Yeah. So glad Ray Lambert is still around it.
And we'll have more all week. In fact, we will be bringing you extensive coverage of the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Starting tomorrow, our Anthony Mason will report from France. And Thursday morning, we will have a live special report to cover President Trump's visit to Normandy and a ceremony honoring those who fought in the invasion.